All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So obviously we are going to talk about Derrick Lewis and Curtis Blaydes, but in typical fashion on this channel, we're not just going to talk about like the fight. We're going to talk about what happened, but then we're going to talk about him hitting him after he's unconscious. I want to talk about the state of the heavyweight division because this is a perfect example of how light this division is, or better explanation is how light a division gets when you've had the same champion for so long, because light heavyweight is basically in the same situation. But yeah, so we'll talk about all those things, and we'll talk about Derrick Lewis saying one of the funniest things ever. I mean, it's given the context, it's you're not supposed to laugh, but I can't help myself. He's hilarious, man. Anyway, so if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Now let's do this thing. Okay, so last night the number 4 guy, Derrick Lewis, knocked the number 2 guy, Curtis Blaydes, into another dimension, right? Like with one of the most vicious uppercuts, catching a guy on his way in that I've ever seen, right? Stiff on his way down, okay? Now, think about that, okay? The number 4 guy knocked out the number 2 guy absolutely stone cold, okay? And so if you want to put that in perspective, I mean, like, let me just pick literally any random division. So in welterweight, what that would mean is George Masvidal knocked out Gilbert Burns stiff, right? So that's number 4 and number 2. Okay, if we go to lightweight, number 4 knocking out numbers 2 would be Michael Chandler knocking out Justin Gaethje stiff, right? Let's go to, I don't know, any of these, right? Let's go to middleweight. That would be Darren Till knocking out Paulo Costa stiff, just like that, right? Now, so the point that I'm making is think about the implications in any of those weight classes. If the number 4 guy knocked the number 2 guy out stiff like that, okay, it would be huge. Huge. The guy would be calling for a title shot and be like, man, I cannot, like, that guy, give him a shot at the title, right? Okay, so in the heavyweight division, is anybody like, man, I can't wait to see Derrick Lewis fight Stipe? Nope. Is anybody like, man, I can't wait to see Derrick Lewis fight Francis? Nope. And on top of which, Derrick Lewis in the press conference said he doesn't want a 5-round fight. He straight up said, I don't want a 5-round fight. Just give me a 3-rounder. And he called out Alistair Overeem. Okay? Like, he knocked out the number 2 guy stiff. And he called out Alistair Overeem, who's coming off 2 losses. And is, he's the number 6 guy. Okay? Does anybody think of Alistair Overeem as like, a potential title holder? Obviously not. And he's number 6. Right? So that's the point that I'm making. It's like, you got Stipe, number 1, Francis, number 2, Curtis Blaydes, number 3. Well, obviously, number 1 contender, number 2. So Curtis Blaydes, then Rosenstruck, who got knocked unconscious in 15 seconds by Francis Ngannou. Then Derrick Lewis, then Volkov. Volkov is the guy I'm most excited about right now. To be honest, like, he's the only guy that I could think of that I'd be like, man, I would like to see him bang with some guys. I would love to see him fight Stipe. I would love to see him fight Francis. He's so huge. And I don't know if I've said this, I know I've talked about it on my live videos, but good God, man, when he fought Alistair Overeem, I had no idea how big he was. I literally had no idea how big he was. He's a monster-sized human. I would like to see him fight these guys. And then you got Cyril Gane. He's interesting. Cyril Gane at number 7. He's interesting because, man, most of these guys up here are stand-up guys. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that's the one good thing about the heavyweight division. Or, I mean, not the only good thing, but one very good thing about the heavyweight division. Stipe, Francis, Rosenstruck, Derrick Lewis, Alexander Volkov, all these guys, and Cyril Gane. I mean, these are all the top guys that I'm interested in. All of them are stand-up fighters. All of them. So they're going to stand and they're going to bang. I would love to see Cyril Gane fight Francis. I would love to see Cyril Gane fight Stipe. I would love to see him fight Rosenstruck. Yeah, I mean, all these guys. So there are some interesting matchups there, but like, because these 3 guys, Curtis Blaydes, Derrick Lewis, I mean, primarily those 2 have lost, to all these guys, and Derrick Lewis doesn't even want to be in the title picture. It just makes everything confusing. Like you really got to be rooting for Alexander Volkov and Cyril Gane so that we can have some interesting matchups at heavyweight after Francis and Stipe. I mean, if Francis wins, you would think that they'll do a trilogy fight. You would think. I just never feel like I have a handle on what Stipe wants. Like, does Stipe, like, could Stipe lose and just retire? I just, like, the guy is so just, I go in, I fight, I leave. Like, that is just how he rolls. He never does any press. He doesn't like it. You can just tell. Like, you stick a microphone in his face, he hates it. And I'm not like being a prick. You can just see it. Like, there are just some people that are great at some things and some people that are not great at other things, and you know, generally people don't like doing things that they're not good at, you know. And Stipe does not like public speaking. He doesn't like talking about himself. He just doesn't like it. And then so you put him on this grand stage and stick a microphone in his face, and you can just tell. They ask him a question at the press conference, and he says something, and you can just see he's just like, did I say enough? I'm going to put the microphone down. Please don't ask me anything else. Which is just not great to promote a champion, especially a heavyweight champion that knocks everyone out. But nonetheless, I would imagine they would do a third fight. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I basically covered that. You know, there's some exciting stuff there because they're all stand-up fighters, but you just got to get, you're going to have to jump the line a little bit and get Volkov in the mix and get Cyril Gane in the mix. So there'll be interesting fights there. But anyway, so let's talk about the other thing. So Derrick Lewis knocked Curtis Blaydes out stiff. I mean, obviously, I've said this a million times. Derrick Lewis knocked Curtis Blaydes out utterly stiff. And so Curtis Blaydes was totally unconscious when he hit the mat. And Derrick Lewis came down and he smashed him with two more unabated, vicious shots right on the chin while Curtis Blaydes was out. And people got mad. You know, his corner got mad. I'd be really mad if I was in the corner and it was my guy. But I wouldn't be mad once I sat there and thought about it. I can't be mad at Derrick Lewis. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. That's what he said in the post fight. When they asked him about it, you know, were those extra shots necessary? He's like, you know, listen, I understand that some people can just turn it off. He's like, I can't do that. Like, I'm going to fight until the ref tells me to stop. That's just, I'm in that mode. That's what I'm going to do. And I can't throw a rock at that, dude. You're in there fighting for your life. Like, you're literally in there fighting against a guy who, in Curtis Blaydes' case, probably cuts, I don't know this for sure, but probably cuts weight to 265. Some gigantic, enormous guy who is in there trying to knock me unconscious or break my limbs, right? The mode that I'm in to defend myself against that, I hit him with a big shot, he falls down. And if I feel like if I'm just fighting for my life until someone tells me to stop, I mean, you can't throw a rock at that. Like, given the circle, I mean, I understand if Curtis Blaydes is your dude, why you would get upset, but you should get upset at Herb Dean, or you should just get upset that he got knocked out. You can't get upset at the other guy who's fighting for his life, closed into an octagon with probably one of the top 5 most dangerous people on earth, right? So I don't think that the criticism is valid, and I just don't think the criticism's ever valid of fighters who are hitting a guy once he's unconscious, if it's happening inside of a very brief amount of time. You know, like, you know, you knock him out, if you're, you know, 1,000, 2, 1,000, you know, another 3 seconds of them being out and you're still on it. I mean, if it gets unreasonable, I understand. But a guy's unconscious, you hit him with a couple shots, I'm sorry, you can't expect them to. I mean, it's good when people don't do it, but you can't get angry when they don't hold up. But one of the things that was hilarious is they were like, when Derrick Lewis is getting mad about it, he goes, "My name's the Black Beast, not the Black Bitch." That's funny, dude. Come on. My name's the Black Beast, not the Black Bitch. I mean, you can't find humor in that. Come on. I mean, obviously, hopefully Curtis Blaydes is all right. He's had a rough go. He looked good last night too. I mean, just to jump back to the fight, he looked real good in that first round. And you know, that's another thing that's frustrating about Derrick Lewis is like his fighting style is just kind of like, you go ahead and just do what you're going to do to me, and eventually I'm going to hit you with a big shot, and you're going to go to sleep. And it's like, because of that, you can't put that much stock in his victories, you know, because so many of them look like that. He never goes out there and kind of dominates a guy post to post, or not. I'm not thinking about that statement before I made it, but I can think of lots of fights where he was getting beat and then he hit a guy with a big shot. And like, when that happens, it's not like a guy comes out of that and you're like, man, get this guy a shot at the title. You know what I mean? And especially he doesn't even want one. He doesn't want a 5-round fight. So, I don't know. I don't really have any broader conclusions. I really like Derrick Lewis, though. I feel bad for Curtis Blaydes. He's a really great fighter, and he's just starting to look like one of those guys that maybe won't ever put it together. But he's still young enough. I mean, his striking looked good enough last night that with that striking, that takedown defense, or I'm sorry, those takedowns and the ground and pound, I mean, he is dangerous. He could make a run. He absolutely could make a run. I mean, Jan Blachowicz had lost 4 of his last 5. And then he went on the run that he's on, and now he's the champion. that says it all. So anyway, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell and tell your friends. Peace.